Is there questions?
Peter? Yeah, we actually have a few questions, Bernard.
Okay, good. Let me just see if I can. Oh, okay, there we go. Okay, you read them to me.
Well, the first one in line, basically, we have Michael McDonald. Interesting question. Are you planning on making plants to sell to others to produce feedstock to battery suppliers, or are you going to be the producer for feedstock?
I think I've addressed this, that what we want to be is we want to be the silicone manufacturers for everybody. So we're going to be looking more at producing probably the material for feedstock. I mean, we're not interested in yet being a battery manufacturer. I think we have enough on our plate.
Okay, well, let's see. Well, very common question. Basically, when this is from Rui Coimbra. Sorry if I mispronounce. When do you forecast the exchange? When do we forecast we get product for cash? We're seeing revenue. When do we expect to see revenue? I guess is the question he's trying to.
Ru, my answer will be as has always been. It's not the cash flow lineup for what HPQ is doing. We're developing game-changing technology. I believe, and let me go back to the slide. I think the revenue and the value, is it revenue you're looking for, or is it value or increasing shareholder value? I think the way we structure and develop ourselves, okay, to do this is much more structured to generate strong value, and this is where we're moving into. Revenues, as I said, it could be, it could start next year, it could go after that, but those are going to be like small revenues, small fry revenues. But once we start getting the process and getting the numbers done, it will be massive. So it's not my obsession to generate revenues just for the sake of being able to say I generate revenues. Okay, my obsession is to generate shareholder value by having a process that's going to be worth so much money that people want to partner with us to develop it. That's really what I'm looking for. Oh, we can answer the day on that one. Non-stop selling by insider killed the price. Okay, David, I'm going to take this opportunity to defend non-stop selling. 574 million shares traded a year at 72 cents. If you look at the chart, insiders sold at different prices. It's sort of an irrelevant. That is, insiders are entitled to sell just like all the investors. If we traded twice our float, that means there's some people that are buying and selling regularly. I'm not selling. So I understand that it's a big buzzword. People are always going to complain. Once we know we sell them, always people are going to be unhappy. So the point is, no, it's not killing the share price. And as I showed with this slide, I had insiders selling at these prices, these prices. Why suddenly this part of the equation is only insiders selling? In case you don't know, when we exercise options, we get taxed instantly. And those are big tax bills. Okay?
Big tax bills.
Yeah, so we're not a charitable organization. Just like you investing to make money, we're also here to make some money. So that's my point. Thank you, but thank you for the opportunity for me to say. Next question.
Let's go in here. Basically, maybe go over the relationship between HPQ and Pyro.
Maybe I'll let Peter talk a bit about this.
Of Pyrogenesis.
I'll let Peter talk about this.
The relationship in terms of the equity holder, subcontractor, or equity holder. Well, you can be both. I think we're both, wouldn't you say?
Yep.
We actually do quite a bit of the work in the sense of fulfilling contracts. We have an equity piece in HPQ. We also have a royalty. So in terms of being a contractor or a supplier, we're also very much wed to their future and their success. And almost, I wouldn't say have an inside line, but we have an inside sight as to what they're doing, what we're doing, what the purpose is. So I guess when you see a supplier or a contractor taking an equity piece as well as a royalty, you could get a little bit more confidence than somebody who doesn't. Or other, I don't know what our other is, but subcontractor equity holder, I think I spoke to that, right? We have a really good relationship. beyond that. We're having a lot of fun doing it. We're game changing. We're changing the way things are being done. It's very exciting for pyrogenesis as well, but we're here to talk about HPQ, to wake up in the morning and work on things that are so game changing. I think we've answered the question there, right, Patrick?
Yeah, no, I think you answered very well.
Yeah.
There was one earlier on. I don't know if you missed it on purpose, so maybe I shouldn't talk to it.
Oh,
But-
no, I didn't see it.
But there's an interesting one at the very top. It was, why has HPQ decided to pursue several initiatives at the same time?
Oh,
As
you're
a-
right. That's a good one. I didn't see it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And the reason I say that because it speaks to pyrogenesis as well, right? It's a question that comes up. I think Constantine asked that question, and I think HPQ is nailed it on the head. I mean, I believe pyrogenesis has as well. It's truly an art to diversify enough so you de-risk the company. When you're developing a new technology and entering into new marketplaces, the challenge is to not to go too far afield and create a risk in your overall offering. You know, if you can't be everything to everybody is basically the bottom line. But there's a huge risk with companies just being a one-horse show, because you're betting all your eggs. You have all your eggs in that one basket. So if you diversify a bit, so that if something slows down here, something picks up here, and you manage it really well, so you don't go too far afield, but you do enough to de-risk the company. I mean, that's an art. I think HPQ has nailed it. I think Pyro has nailed it. And that's why you would want to pursue several initiatives at the same time, as opposed to just concentrating on one. Now, there's a proviso there. If by doing the other initiatives, you're delaying the first one, then that's sometimes a problem. But my hat goes off to HPQ and their management for having done it really well.
Yeah, and I'll combine this is that if you go look at our history at the beginning was to make the nano reactor, the PureVap QRR for solar, okay? And the solar industry, like every industrial industry, has ups and downs in the situation. But what we were able to do, thanks to working with Pyro, is we were able to take what we have done in that area, because the truth of the matter is in 2017 and 2018, it was very hard in solar. Okay, our story, even though we got the government financing, we just couldn't get people interested in what we were doing. Now people are going to be knocking on our door. But we kept focusing on realizing that the QRR could be a game changing in the silicone industry. And that obsession then made us move to the battery sector. Okay, that's what we've done the nano reactor. And that obsession gave us the opportunity to get the fume silica, but now we're going to have the solar coming back into it. If we had been the typical, it was just a one hit, if it doesn't work, we move on, it wouldn't be there. But the QRR, we always believed it would be game changing, and we were right. We were just ahead of the curve. But our timing is really serendipitous in the sense that now, as the QRR gets ready to be operational, and I go to the answer says, why should you only focus on one thing? When you do an R&D project like we're doing, okay, it's not like a mining operation where you sort of know the time frame, or you can easily plan what's going to be the next step. What's now fun, what we have, is by having multiple lines of development that are all synergetic between one and the other, we can also have, a news flow that moves together. But as the QRR develops much better, it improves our nano reactor. Because if it wasn't for the QRR, I don't think our nano reactors could be economic. I'll tell you this, because what we've discovered starting with the nano reactors is if we couldn't make the material with the QRR, we would have to go buy a very expensive raw product, just like all my competitors. That's why I'm not really worried about it. So it's all synergetic. It's there's nothing outside that I'm doing that's completely left field. Like even though I got people calling me, says, can we use your QRR technology for tons of stuff? Peter, we get emails about this. Can we use the technology for this? And we're just staying focused on this. Silicone is going to be massive. And silicon for batteries is going to be humongous. So we're focused. We're diversified, focused at the same time. I don't know if that makes sense, but you know,
Yeah.
it could be as good as my slow is fast and fast is slow type of line.
That's a good,
Okay.
that's a good perspective. That's a good, I understand what you're talking about. That's good. Yeah.
Okay. Bring it to market ASAP. Okay. Like we have so many questions. How are we going to go through this?
Yeah, there's a lot of questions. I mean,
There's a lot of questions. I'm going to go through the question now from up and
there's-
down and try to see what I can answer.
well, there's one interesting I can answer right away.
Okay,
Bill.
go, Patrick.
You know, since it has to do with sort of exploration that we used to do. You know, it's basically saying, what about our quartz properties, and what's happening in that, and where would we source our quartz? Well, I mean, we did all this started all this adventure, you know, with Bernard started with our interest in quartz and the potential of quartz being the source to make you know, silicon metal for solar and whatnot. But what we quickly found out, especially with the issue with cryogenesis, that you know, the real value added is the development of the pure vat and QR. So, you know, we decided to invest on that side, developing a quartz property, even though we do have very nice quartz. Well, you know, quartz can perhaps be gotten anywhere really, and perhaps even cheaper than mining it here in Quebec, perhaps. But it's just that, you know, we just invested and it was a right call. We decided to invest on the technology side, investing on the bringing up a deposit up to you know, feasibility study and that, and spending money on that.
Yeah, and if you allow me to interject, Patrick, it's something very funny. I think it was a week ago. I was listening to the Quebec Minister of Natural Resources, and he was sort of saying, and I'll say this out of experience because we talked to the government. When we started this project, we went to see the government for money. He says, no, it can't fit. You need to have a resource, a PEA, and those type of things to get the money. And we kept telling him, industrial mineral doesn't work. Well, lo and behold, now when the minister talks, says, no, we don't care about the deposit. We know there is the material. We know it's the technology that counts. So it's the thinking. We've always been forward thinking. It's just now it's catching up. Okay, David, please clarify HPQ. We already did this. I'm just trying to. There was a question I found very interesting.
It was a French question, actually.
Okay, no, there's a question. It says 2022 until full production. Is it possible to move up this timetable? That seems far away. Timetables, R&D project. I don't think we're the best. So might as well better I've learned now that it's better to put it far away and deliver before than put it too tight and do it. Because unfortunately, we're not building, IKEA material. You know, we're building build to order first technology. When it's going to be our second or third, gen QRR system we build, yeah, okay, you can, rack me with the coal if I'm late. But when we're developing something, it's very difficult to give timeline. Okay, so I give an impression of timeline, and if your only focus is the revenue stream is going to generate shareholder value, I'm sorry, that's not my philosophy. My philosophy is you should develop the technology, and it's going to be worth, because the technology is going to be worth a lot of money. So I've sort of answered that one. Is there competition from China? There's probably going to be competition from China, but I don't foresee that they're the same position. Well, we always anticipate competition from China, but now what is good is the world has sort of woken up to the competition for China, because they've woken up to what they did in the solar industry. And this is what the Europeans now are so focused on saying, no, we don't want to get our raw material from China. We want to get them from Canada, North America, other places. We don't want to have more win-win type of scenario relationship. So once again, we're perfectly positioned in this regard. Same type of companies at HPQ. In the silicone business, none. Our competitors, there's none. Sorry. Insider have target. Well, that's a board.
Who is it?
It's the same question about fair. Is there a way to speed up development? Yeah, you can cut corners, but it usually, from experience, it usually comes and bite you in the butt. I have a technical question, so it may be more Peter. Is the regular silicon not good for battery, aka degrades quickly? What's the silicon nanomaterial? Well, that one I can answer. Well, I can't answer without answering because there's something that we discovered that we don't want to, scream out there. The reason why it's not good, it's first of all, you need to make it smaller to resolve the issue of expansion. So you need to make it nanomaterial. Now, if you try to take raw silicone and make it battery grade, and you try to basically use physical crushing into it, first of all, you add impurities. You have a process that's not going to be uniform, which is not easy for batteries, and it requires a lot of time. Just to give you an idea, in our type of material we did, it takes 24 hours of crushing to make the material up to battery grade. There's no way you can make something economic with that. I hope I answered that question. The talk of Peter, there's still a question about you guys taking me over. I thought they understood that was sort of like your illegitimate son.
Is there a question about me taking you over?
Yeah. From an interview that Peter did on Agoracom, he was asked about taking over HPQ. He said he said he wouldn't do it as then he would have to spend money to the research and development. Are you worried that once all the R&D has been spent your money, Pyro could get a sweet deal? They're afraid. No, we wouldn't be here without Pyro, guys.
It's look, that's a loaded question. Can I read that question properly? Where is that?
If you go on the question, it's David Robinson that wrote it. Well, he's the one that was asking a lot of good questions. So
Yeah.
I'll let you read it.
Okay.
I'm doing some answers with text as well.
Yeah.
Look,
Yeah, 218 at 218.
I can't do something, but basically, if you
17.
follow what pyrogenesis is trying to do, we're trying to make ourselves less complicated, not more complicated under one roof. So I mean, it's a.
Sorry about that one. Maybe I should
No,
have said.
HPQ. I'm trying to make sense of it without, HPQ is doing really well, and as an investor, that's what we're happy with. We're happy with where the investment is going, the way they're doing the job well. When you buy shares in a company, you don't say, "Oh, if it's doing well, I'm going to buy the whole thing." You promote the management, you support the management, you do your part because we're partners really. So we do our part, and I don't think that's really something that anybody should be concerned about or want to embrace. It's not something we're considering, of course.
No, I think I can interject more into this because people got very confused about the deal we made for HPQ Nano, because they keep thinking that we give you 50% for free, and people keep forgetting that we have developed a way of working that's beneficial to both companies. Okay, and I keep saying that to my investors. There's no way that HPQ could be who it is right now if it wasn't for pyrogenesis. And the agreement we made is we finance 100% of the R&D for 90% of the revenue stream, which is very beneficial to both companies. In HPQ Nano, what we've done is there's a way for that relationship to change where HPQ Nano would end up owning 100% of the revenue stream, but we would then divide the company 50-50 between HPQ and Pyro. And I think that's beneficial. I think people look at this and they keep saying HPQ is losing. HPQ is not losing anything. Everything we're gaining from our relationship with pyrogenesis.
What it actually protects in a weird way is for some ex-ABC company coming along and trying to do it. Okay, because it's like almost a poison pill, because they can't control the company. They can't come in and take over 51% of the company, because we have the at least the one that the mechanism that Bernard has referred to, where we can take a future royalty and convert it to 50% of the company. It's actually a defensive mechanism for HPQ. But in HPQ, there's nobody there with 40-50% of the company. So to protect yourself from a hostile takeover, we're talking about a hostile takeover now, not a friendly takeover. That's an interesting mechanism. And
Just to answer a question that was just made. How do you protect yourself from a hostile takeover?
Well, there's different, a thousand different ways you can write books on it. But I'm a panelist. I'm an investor. I'm a supplier. It's probably not my place. But what you want is what the current management want, and as a shareholder, is you want management to play out its strategy right to the end. they were plate right at the end, and not have anybody steal it, 5 yards from the goal line. And that's how the company in our relationship is structured.
Yeah. Plus, it's been mutually beneficial for both of us in the sense that, these are exciting line of business development that we have that, we've grown into in making them grow. I'm trying to see.
About government, there's an interesting question about government involvement in this. There's some level of government involvement in this bill now. Somebody's asking.
Yes, the QRR was financed in big part by the Quebec government through Investissement Québec through a $1.8 million convertible debenture, which is coming due in 2 years, but has a few milestones coming soon. And I believe that with the direction of the Quebec government right now, we fit perfectly within their criteria. They don't know it yet, but as the minister once said, they don't know until you basically tell them we exist. Somebody asked me when I'm going to be on BNN. I think with this presentation, I want to make our storyline cleaner. I think we're getting very close to be ready to go for prime time. We've done amazingly well with our basically, strapped by the boots type of communication with all our shareholders. But I think now it's getting ready for another level, and I think it's coming online.
Another interesting, which has been a subject of a lot of discussion. Somebody's asking here has been how does HPQ feel about the short attacks?
It's not really shorts for say shorts. If you see the volume we did, it's high frequency traders. Okay, these are guys that are trading it for a quarter of a penny. We had them when we were at like a 5-6 cents. They're always trading it for a small position. They just take shorts gamble to make it worse. But I believe that our run up was basically capped, didn't go as high as it should have done by them. But then the other way, they're going to have to cover eventually. As the volume dries down, their strategy doesn't work as well. And the only way for us to resolve it is to keep delivering, keep moving forward, having great projects, having what it is. I feel we've done back of the envelope, math of the value of both our project and both of our key project that we're doing, which is the nano reactor and the fume silica one. And, both of them independently can support and expand our market cap right now. I think that's what people don't realize is we have multiple projects. If they were standalone, could be great standalone companies that would be, phenomenally successful public companies in the tech field. So yeah, it annoys me, but if I spend my time worrying about all those issues, when I started this business, maybe I worried more about what was said on Stockhouse, and I've been insulted so many times that it doesn't really change anything.
There's a question. Basically, a lot of people comes up. It's can we say anything about our NDAs that we have?
No. But no, we can't. Question here about a patent. Yes, we own the patent for the QRR and the nano reactor. We bought them. It's focused to silicone. The rest of it is through discussion with Pyro, but we have a first right of refusal into it. Institutional investors. Well, we have Pyro, which is it's not really an institutional investor, but with sort of large shareholder. The other one's Investissement Québec. The rest of it, as I showed, is widely held through retail investors. But I believe that we have a story that's going to start to attract institutional investors. You got to remember that EEG investment wasn't too keen, or it was sort of like one of those, I think, esoterical, is that the way to say it, type of thing? But I thought it's becoming real. Jumping on a bigger exchange. Peter, is it really worth it? You've done it.
I enjoy it. It's
Okay.
fun. It's fun. It gets more eyeballs, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think eventually, I think the first next step, what we want to do is stop being a mining company and become a true technology company. I think that's step one. Then that's really what it is. Short attack. Will you own the fume silica? Well, Okay, the question about fume silica, as I said, we're finalizing the legal documents. I think we will, but I could be wrong, but I think we will follow the same path, successful pathway we've developed with Pyro over time. Renewable government, I think we did. Are you protected? Yes, I am.
Bernard, there's a good question about the current burn rate and how far it will get us, how far the 18 million will get us.
We have one of the cheapest burn rate of the industry. What is it?
All the planned R&D work and
Yeah, even the R&D work, like we're like the nano silicon project is fully financed. The QRR is fully financed. 18 million will get us pretty far. See, the next step, the next step as we move forward, the only big neck expense is going to be building the pilot plant for the nano reactor. But even that, I don't find that to be that big of a burn rate. It's going to be what we are. So I think the $18 million will allow us to get very far. How?
Yeah, through most of our R&D, I would say.
Yeah, through most of our R&D and those type of things. I think we've demonstrated we've been very, very cautious in spending our money. Second point to understand is why we're not focusing on the mine part is just getting the mine is going to be a commitment of $200-300 million, even though it's a small part of the project. And I think having a mine sort of like creates a negative tendency how you work. You end up trying to design your production to meet the mine capacity as opposed to where the product goes. So since we're doing much more scalable, tailored to meet our buyer's product, it's much more advantageous. If I had a big mine that I needed to figure out and get, because to get all the permitting, I got to do the big things. This is where we have the advantage. I missed anything? Probably did. Are we planning on spinning off? If it makes sense for the shareholders and for the company, yes. If it doesn't, we won't be looking at it. But it's not something yet to speak that.
Are there other industries for nanomaterials other than batteries? Well,
yeah,
that's well. Sometimes when a product is available at a reasonable price, it creates new industries. It can create new products. So who knows?
Yeah. Question: do I have discussion with fund managers? See, right now I'm sort of in an interesting position. When I have people calling me for money, I says, well, I have $18 million. It usually like slows down their discussion, but it gives me opportunity to discuss. I think once we're fully vaccinated and we can start to travel again, I think I'm going to start to take my little suitcase and become a salesman and go talk to more and more institutions and do those face-to-face with what we're doing.
You're doing a presentation in New York in September.
Yeah, I'm doing one in September. Yeah. I think it's AC Wainwright. I'm doing it. I'll just start talking about it.
Yeah, we had, just to answer that question, we had been talking to institutional fund managers of small cap funds early on, and we did have some investors, and they may still be in, I'm not sure, but basically with all the R&D that's been going on and with COVID, we've sort of gone back and put our nose to the grindstone to really get working on this, and we'll be ready to come out with quite a bit more marketing over the next year.
Yeah. Are there any 3D printing application for silicone nanopowders? Not that I know of yet. Can I give an update on work with Apollon? Not at this specific moment. There's some very interesting things moving on in that regard, but in due time, I will talk about it more. Okay, there's a French question, but I'll translate it in English. Fume silica, you mentioned that the process is very advanced, but you're talking production only in 2023. When I say project is very advanced, it basically means it meets the first scale of the work, which is, I have the presentation here. Proof of concept and commercial scalability part is done. Then you move to the pilot plant, which is the pre-commercialization. Then you move to commercialization. So, you start from an idea, you go through the preliminary proof of concept. Does it really work? Then you work into the proof of commercial scalability of the system. If you go take a look at a nano reactor, that's what we did. We did a proof of concept. We were able to produce some nanopowders. Then we're now in the part where we're testing the proof of commercial scalabilities, improving the system, testing it, and then we're going to enter into the commercialization phases. that can be done as accelerated as it is, but that's the normal process of what it's doing. With the fumed silica, all that is done. Now, even the plans are done for building the pilot plant. It's just building it. And it was sort of like financing it in the project, but that Pyro has been able to get some government grant for that. So that's very good. What is the approximate time for resolve the material testing is being done by Professor Rouet? It's depends. It can be, depends if we do 50 cycle, 100 cycle, 200 cycles. There is no specific timeline. I know that people want us to get specific timeline. There are some materials at the beginning where it's just for us to understand a bit what we need to improve in the process, and then moves forward. Eventually, there'll be a time where it'll be clearer, but we're just at the cusp of that point. But so I don't really have a timeline for when it is. Are you building relationship with companies managing clean energy indices that are tracked by ETFs? Building with companies managing clean energy indices. We will be looking at this. That's part of a strategy we're looking to. Yeah, no analysts have a buy recommendation on us yet. When the pilot plan is a no. Okay, I will not. The first, I think people are making too much of the first order that we got was just really to demonstrate that our material is so much in demand that even before we officially made the material, people are willing to buy for it. Okay, that's really the key point. And that's the key factor. I anticipate that once we've basically say that we've made qualified sample, I'll have so much demand for sample that it's going to be nuts. And that's my humble feeling. Yes, nanoparticles is something that can be mixed in water to produce hydrogen. Yes, that's been done and developed. Well, what's this more? 14. Oh, wow, there's many. Okay, there's people chatting between themselves. David, I've already covered that point about the advantage of us owning 50-50 with the tech being developed. I've already explained that one. Update on what's going on with the Gen 1 nano reactor. It's an R&D. It seems to be a recurring question that comes back. It's an R&D project, and when we started this, there is sometimes what's known as unknown unknowns that happens. I think I've explained it at length that we discovered something in the process. Okay. Which we're about to resolve the issues relating to this, and what we discovered out of that puts even more important on our capacity to QRR. So the original timing was assuming that everything would go according to plan, not that we would end up discovering something in R&D, but that's usually the way it works. You discover something, and as you go down that rabbit hole, you discover it's even more important than it is to the end product. So at the beginning timelines are always the most difficult for us to make. As we get more advanced, it'll be easier to do. So I understand that people want to come back and criticize it and think that's the reason why the share price went down, but that's not. I showed you, it was really market action. Can we get an HPQ for a swag? Can I HPQ Pyro collaboration for swag? Well, as long as they don't accuse me of being a pyromaniac, I'm good.
We swag on our own right now.
Yeah. We all say. Okay, I'm not sure if I covered most of the question. I don't know. That's the problem with the virtual one. There's so many questions. I don't know.
Why do we have an Italian name for silicon polvere?
Oh, well, somebody asked that?
Yes.
Well, it's because I was tired of always using the silicone powder, like HPQ Nano silicone powder. What was going to say? Fume silica powder. It's like so we decided to try to be creative. Oh, an interesting question here on the chat. I don't know. I didn't see it. How does HPQ relate to the semiconductor industry? Okay, semiconductor industry needs about 11N purity material. All right. When we do metallurgic route silicone metal, the top we can do is probably going to be 6N with additional purification. So unless we discover a brand new process to purify silicone above the purity we have, I don't think electronic grade is going to become an important sector. This being said, we're looking at improving the carbon footprint of manufacturing the primary silicone, and that might play into the, polysilicon manufacturer might want to use our material because it'll be cleaner and greener than everybody else. So I'll same the same question. Silicon, no, I don't know. All right, is there really a question I forgot to answer? Output material and meets expanding. Oh, that's an interesting. What percentage of output material from pure meet or exceeds the chemical grade 2N? I'm going to say this: 100%, because the QRR can make 4N material, so 2N is not difficult. Okay, we've basically demonstrated we can take the numbers we've shown in the presentation are actual results that we've done. Okay, so it was 2N. We reached a 2N with 98%, and it was in the Gen 2. So when we say 2N, it's going to be 100% or more, as opposed to the other process. That was an interesting question. What's silicon nano byproduct material? How many cycles are you up to? That's an ongoing. We're just looking at how to improve the material, the battery material. That's more Professor Rouet doing this.
That comes out of our INRS relationship.
Yeah.
That there'll be a lot of that type of testing once those samples get into that research and development group.
Yeah. I think I've talked about Apollon. Is COVID causing? Yeah, COVID did cause. I think it's the same issue everybody's having right now. It's just hard to as things restart, but I don't think it's an overall issue. Gen 1 nanoreactor, I did. S1 nanoparticle, yes. NPRR. Oh. All right, unless, is there somebody, question and answer, panelists? Is there any demand for the Trekkie? Interesting question. The Trekkie is a wee bit of an expensive process for delivering small quantity of energies. I think it's going to be, I think the interest is going to be more for the Gen 2 or Gen 3 of that version. So it's hasn't been that strong as I expected, but it's okay. Industrial espionage.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually a point we discussed at the board level in HPQ. And we're looking at doing an audit of reviewing. We don't foresee too much of a risk because we don't have too much of the industrial secrets. So it's mostly how pyrogenesis protects itself, because really the technical information is there. So I'm pretty confident that Peter is very adamant to those securities protection for his protocol, especially if you work for the U.S. military.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, well, that one is already done. Update hydrogen for Apollon. There's a lot of questions about Apollon update. Now, I'll just reiterate what I said. It's a moving situation, but I will say that at the end, people will be very pleasantly surprised when we're moving. But unfortunately, at this moment, that's about as much as I can say. What's that, a Volkswagen or Tesla on your opening slide? It's just a question that it's not a, was that, I have absolutely no clue. And when you buy a stock pictures, you don't really know what the picture is about. That's a good question.
An electric car.
Are you hiding Apollon because we want to acquire them? Oh boy. I think we covered everything unless somebody wants to use it on carbon equivalent and show some slide comparing other processes. Let's complete the phase review.
I think you pretty much nailed all of them.
Yeah, I think I probably. It's a question about the percentage. We've done some study and presented some study on our carbon footprint. I'm very keen to reactivate something we've done some discussion about, reducing the carbon footprint. The energy output, we actually do give it. It's 13,000 kilowatt hours. So somebody was asking for it. So it's there. As for the nano reactors, I don't know it yet. We'll know it more as it advances.
Well, there's one interesting question because I know we did a quick slide about it, but we're still very excited about it. Is the fumed silica market?
Oh, yeah, the reason for it is you know, there's a logic to our madness, and there's something else that has to be divulged before we can go and dance full throttle. That's going to be there. But I can tell you this, that just talking to Quebec-based potential clients, there was a lot of interest over what we're going to be doing. Only some question about the QA. I think I covered pretty much everything.
Yeah, we covered pretty much.
Anyway, if there's additional question, you can send them on Agoracom. I will try to find time to answer them. You know, okay, so I'll stop sharing.
Feel free to call you directly as well. Our phone numbers are there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was fun. It's going to be, so the video, stop sharing. Oh, did I start recording? No, we're still recording. Okay, good. So how many people work for Pyrogenesis? No, for HPQ. Sorry about that one. Whoops, hey, Peter, whoops, sorry, didn't mean that one. People are going to start rumor about it.
Well,
Didn't Bernard say that sample had been sent out? No, we did not say that.
what was that question?
Did Bernard say in Q4 2000 that the sample had been sent out to the EV and battery producer and commercial production was started in Q3 2021? No. What we said in the press release is we anticipate to have qualified samples soon and ship them as soon as possible. Unfortunately, making the qualified sample was one of those R&D issues, but still there. 2 new messages. Okay, so all right.
So anyways, Bernard, I just, before you sign on,
Yep.
getting to the end of the questions, I just want to bring you congratulations from the Pyrogenesis to your team and your board. You've done an amazing job this year, phenomenal job this year during very trying times. We both, if you look at what we were last year and where we are this year, we went through all the COVID craziness together, and it ended up on this side and healthier and better. I mean, you got $18 million on your balance sheet. My goodness, you know. Congratulations. And I don't know how you feel, Patrick and Daryl, but I feel underdressed. I mean, Bernard's wearing a tie.
Yeah.
Really nice tie, by the way, Bernard. Next time I will wear a tie as well. And I hope
No. It's only at the AGM I wear a tie. It's
very
only
good,
at the
very good.
AGM.
But it's a nice tie. It's a nice tie. And it's been quite a journey. And from where we sit today for both companies, HPQ as well, the future looks amazing. It's ours to write, essentially, and we're going to have exciting times. We've got a great relationship, so it makes it. So I got to tell the shareholders, we've gone. It hasn't been that easy. It's you go through trying times, things don't work, then you try again, back and forth, and that really tests the relationship. Really tests the relationship, and this relationship has been tested several times over, and now we're at a time when we can actually, celebrate, so to speak, where we are today and what we can do. And thanks, Bernard, and the team and the board. Please give Pyrogenesis well wishes to you all, and we're here. We support you. We love what you're doing.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank
And
you.
by the way, Peter, just to tell you about the tie,
Yeah,
this used to be Sebastian's favorite tie.
awesome, man. That's excellent. That's excellent. Do you
All
wear
right.
it? You wear it at every AGM?
Sometimes just special moments. So
Oh, very nice.
I knew there was going to be a lot of attendees and a lot of people coming in.
Well, it's a special moment, so it's a great time to
We'll
award.
wear it at the Bulls Goldfield AGM.
It was.
That's different. I'll wear a different one.
It is a special time in the journey, and it's an appropriate tie to wear it, most certainly.
Okay. So for those in French, pour ça en français, on va faire un autre plus tard en français. Là, je vais m'organiser. Donnez-moi le temps de me remettre un peu de celui-là. Puis peut-être que je vais trouver comment mieux le faire. So on this, I shall leave you. I shall close the meeting. Hope everybody have a great day.
Thank you, Bernard.
Thanks. Bye.
Everybody.
All the best, everybody.